Hi, welcome to today. We're going to be doing some foot exercises using a stretchy band. So I have a very long one, but don't worry, you can have a medium-sized one. And what it's going to do is really help all of these foot muscles of ours start to get a little bit of work because we need our feet more than you even realize. So go ahead and grab yourself a comfortable seat. So if you can't sit on the floor easily, you can sit yourself up on a chair or a stool, but you'll need to find access to your foot. So we're going to begin with one leg. This is going to be my left leg as I start off. The first thing I like to see is just what do I notice about my feet, sort of the separation between the toes. Are they aiming forward, backward? What is the space underneath my arches like? Does it feel even on the two sides? And where do I feel like my feet are balanced and where they are not touching the ground? Once you've got that as a mental image, then we can start our work. So we've got our foot coming through, or our toe, I should say. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover the entire toe, big toe up. So you don't want it peeking through. You don't want to strangle down at the neck of the toe. A nice, well-supported toe position. Make sure your knee is bent. Make sure your ankle is bent because we're going to start to move, pulling the toe toward us and then curl the toe forward. So as we draw backward and forward, what we're going to be noticing is that the tension comes on when you pull, but the tension goes off when you curl. Now, even though we're focusing on the big toe, all the other toes are doing the same movement. So you can't really isolate them individually. They work as a team. And then you're going to go to the next toe. So as we're doing this, we're working on the hinging of the toes where the actual toe bones connect to the foot bones. So they've got big names. We don't have to talk about them, but they've got really cool names. So what we're doing is just noticing, does my toe come straight back toward me? Is it easy to curl over? And as we go through each foot, we're going to begin to realize maybe some of them feel easier than others. So as you're doing this again, it's a toe action, curl and pull back. You're not trying to move your ankle. So just make sure that that's not happening in your foot, because sometimes when we do this work, this is what we call differentiation of movement. Maybe your feet haven't done this for a while, so they're not 100% sure how to do it anymore. And that's half of the reason why we're doing these exercises, because we want our feet to be as agile as our fingers. So the foot and the hand are very closely related and they can do very similar things. Let's go to the light little toe. I always find this one is my most challenging one to get going. And what you may find is if you are struggling with one of your toes, the band might slip off every now and then. So all you do is just reposition, and that's a pretty good indication that that's the toe you might need to spend a bit more time on. So again, curl, arch, curl and arch. All right, once we've done all 5 toes, we will already start to feel slightly different through the foot. What we'll do next is we're going to take the entire foot and we're going to put it so that it is nice and flush. Now, bands like this do stick, so if it's sticking for you, don't worry, it's a common thing. So you're going to put the entire foot now, toes to heel, supported, and pull all 5 toes and curl all 5 toes. So again, notice that we pull back on tension and we release the tension as we curl the feet forward. So we're doing that because we're lengthening the muscles of our feet underneath us. If you're someone who walks around in shoes a lot, or even high heels or thongs, you will already naturally be sort of clawing your feet in, which is creating a contraction of those muscles underneath you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the position of our band, and we're going to just sort of cover the forefoot of the foot. Take your leg out to the side and then hold your arm open. From here, we're going to go into an ankle circle. So the further out you go, the more tension. But remember, if this is not easy for you to be in that position, then just hold somewhere where you can hold tension on an angle. Because as we're moving now, we're going through an ankle circle and we're getting resistance on the inward scoop. Now go in the opposite direction and make your scooping as round and as smooth as possible. So, the ankle has got a lot of mobility to it, or directional movement to it. We always think it just goes forward, backward, but it can move in 3 dimensions. So we're just, figuring all of that out as we go. Now we're going to take the band and put it to the other side. So still in that little covered over position, and take the other foot in front. So you've got yourself a little bit of resistance here. This one is one of the hardest ones to do because you will want to pull your foot back toward you, but you really have to try and relax the foot. I find sometimes just tapping the foot to give it an information to say you don't have to work so hard is a really good thing. Now what you're going to do is slowly push your foot out to the side and come back. Now we did this movement in our ankle circle, but we weren't 100% focused on it because we were thinking about the circle. Now we're isolating that movement of pushing away and then coming back. And often when we push into resistance, we think that's the work, but there's also work in slowing the movement back towards the start so that we don't just swipe it back in. We want to lengthen in both directions. So the slow pushing out and then the lengthening of the side of your foot muscles and calf up to that way. All right, so once you've done that set, then we again take a little note of your feet and have they changed. So the most noticeable thing that you will see is that the color has changed because we've added more flow and sort of lymph drainage and stimulation of blood into the foot. The other thing is, if you can see, I've got much more separation now between these toes than I have with those. And my foot seems to be a little bit straighter in alignment. Now you might notice other things in your body, and that's okay. The fact is that you are noticing that there's something different. So we'll go ahead and we'll do the same series now on the opposite side. So as we get started with this one, what we're going to do is, again, tuck up that first big toe and then keeping the heel on the ground, pull and curl. So as you're doing this, try and focus also on your posture. If you're leaning over or hunching over, that's not going to be great for all parts of your body. And as we're doing this, you want to go at a sort of rhythmical pace, not too fast, not too slow. And generally you can go through about 10 to each toe. That would take us a little bit of time to go through each one at that pace. So, we're just doing it a little faster. And if you've got more time and if you do this regularly, you're going to notice so many more benefits to doing the work. So as we go to the next toe, I just want to show you something which is pretty fascinating. So when you pull your toe toward you, the edge of the toe is at the base of the foot here. That would be sticking out and the knuckle side would be indented. When I curl my foot over, that reverses. So the knuckle pushes up and there's a little divot on the underside because the toe is moving like this. So that's a nice image to think of as your toes curling and pushing. And I hope you can understand that. And sometimes feeling it is another way of noticing it. And then when we use different images, like I just, you can use a metaphor. I think of a cricket bat, actually, as I move my foot out and in, or my toe out and in. All these different types of images really help us have a better experience of our movement and of our body, because if we know where we're moving from, we have a much higher success rate of moving well. If you are unaware of all the things that are happening underneath you and all these different joints that could be going on, then you're not going to really experience them as well as you could. So, I love to share things about anatomy, so I will keep going on as we now just take our entire foot and cover it from heel to toe, and then pulling back and curling forward. So again, same motion, but all 5 getting feedback from the band. So we have 26 bones in our feet. It's a lot of bones for a little surface. We have up to 30 joints in the feet. Again, that's a lot of mobility for something that is on our base and trying to keep us nice and steady. So the better you can individualize those joints and move them with more control, the better things like your balance will be. So again, we've got our hand out to the side, and then you're going to make circles with your ankle. So again, because of this lean forward, if this is not good for you, just find a position. You could even bring your arm up against a wall surface, whatever it is, you just want a little bit of diagonal line and stretch. Go the other way with the circle. So this is a series I do quite often in the studio environment, and I realized I'd never put it on video, so here it is for you. I hope you enjoy it a lot. The series, of course, comes from the Franklin method, which is where I learned this from, so just giving acknowledgement to that method. All right, so from here, again, just feel your toes nice and relaxed, and then we're going to open the foot out into the resistance and come back. Now, this is quite important that you're not moving your leg, so it's just the ankle foot. So if you want to, you can put your hand onto your shin, onto your upper leg, just to make sure that you're not rolling the top of the leg or bottom of the leg out, but you're really moving your foot sideways. I call this like a sideways swipe or a windscreen wiper sort of movement. And again, just double check those toes don't want to pull back towards you. I find that's the most common thing that people want to do is pull back. And then releasing out of there. All right, so now you should have super wiggly toes. I hope they look good. I hope they feel good. Again, just going into your observation of your feet. So my toes have spread much wider than normal. And now, because of this new information, now you could be really ready to do all of these fun exercises that we like to do with our toes, which is a whole series in another video that I have called Healthy Foot Function. So if you use those two videos together in combination with each other, you'll be looking after the base of your body and making sure that all these muscles work correctly from the bottom all the way up to the top. I hope you've enjoyed the series. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite thing or your most challenging thing. I look forward to seeing you again soon.